function in the Python worker. So how read any txt file or xls file in the Python worker with the help of Azure functions, I can say HTTP trigger and request response. So that will be I am showing here for the demo. First you have to create one folder in your local machine and go in the Azure code tool. You can see I have this Azure code tool which I already installed in my machine. Then click on this create function. Select the browser. I am using Python, so just click on that Python language. Runtime framework 3.9. Then click on this HTTP trigger one. Click on the enter, and the authentication level I am using the anonymous one. Just select that one. Okay, so I can say my local function trigger one HTTP trigger one function is created by default, and we have to do in our own business logic to update and change in this function in this py file. So just I'm opening my whole file structure. What is the file containing after the creation of this HTTP trigger one function. Okay, so you can see we have this init.py file. Here we have imported the logging, and same for the Azure function also. And today our motive is to read a txt file or xlx file from this HTTP trigger one. So I am just removing this by default code which I got. Just removing this one, and I am creating for my code which is using for the reading the file txt file. So just remove this one. Okay, so I commented this and I already written this function. I'm just copy pasting from my notepad. So yeah, I can say same. I have this main function, and I written in the login info like Python HTTP trigger function process for a request when my function is triggered. Then I have put it here file name variable, which file I want to read. So that name I just mentioning here. When you are calling the API, so that variable you have to mention that. So just giving the variable name. Then same for the login info, keeping the file information. And if I given the file name or not given the file name, so I just handling this, please provide a file name over there in the API call when I'm triggering this function, and returning the status code 400. And again, if I found the file, I have to read that. So with open file name or file content, what the written inside that file, any file we have, so which is written inside like test and admin, what is that content you are written there. So that should be written, and that should be open and reading, and that reading content I can say what the file containing the value which we are returning in the response over there. So just same content, same logic written here. If I don't have, so just normally capturing the error, file not found error, and with the file name and giving the status code 404. So this is our basic logic. And next I have to create the file which I have to be read. So just come here, create one file. And returning here testing demo HTTP function here. And this value I can say while reading. If they found, that value will be returning in the response content. Okay, so this is the input text file created with the content, and now I have to run this solution. Just go in the terminal, go in our folder, sorry. Okay, so I have this file and I triggering this function, so I'm getting this URL with the help of get post method. Any method we can use for this triggering, for the checking the API on the postman. So just copying this and have to be go in the postman. Pass a name in the query string or in the request body for the personal response. Okay, just I'm giving the name for for the checking, like getting the proper value or triggering the proper value or not. Just okay. So I can see my function is running, and let I have to test that file. Something I'm missing. Just wait, I have to check. So you can see we have this init.py file where I'm mentioning this file name, and now I have to create the file which I have to read. So what the file you are trying to read, that should be in the same directory. Either you can keep in other directory, but you have to give the full path name over the API call, and I'm using in the same directory, so that's why I'm normally giving this input.txt file the name here, and I created. I just want to mention some data. Okay, so this is the data I just mentioned by checking if our file is reading, so they are returning this value. Okay, just I'm saving this one and coming again in the our main function. Okay, so this is our function is completed and ready. Now I have to be run. If you want to run some other code, you can. Just copy paste this URL, come in the postman, come here, select the post method, and I have to be read the input file. Just give the file name, there is string, the file name what I have, inpt.txt. Okay, so come here, inpt.txt file name, I give it, click on the send. Okay, so now you can see what is the file containing the data, which I can see in here. Bhagyashree take test, the values containing, and they are returning in the response. So here we can see how we have created the Azure function Python and read the file from that with the help of HTTP trigger function. And this is for the today. And if you have any query, please comment it down. We will meet in the next video. Thank you.